It's Friday, August 18th, 2023, and this is the Washington Times Front Page. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The Front Page is brought to you by Republican Metals. Call 800-783-3118 to get your free gold guide. That's 800-783-3118. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has ordered the enforcement of a youth curfew in 7 areas of the city in response to growing pressure after a summer of robberies, carjackings, and shootings. Matt Delaney reports Acting Metropolitan Police Chief Pamela Smith said officers will enforce the curfew from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and from midnight to 6 a.m. on weekends. During the curfew, children 16 and younger spotted by officers will be taken to the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services. They'll be held while officials contact their parents or guardians. The curfew will be enforced in designated areas around the district, among them Chinatown, Navy Yard, the U Street Corridor, and Howard University. Don't look for a NATO-like military alliance to emerge from President Biden's Camp David summit with the leaders of South Korea and Japan, but the heads of state will be under pressure to formalize the foundations of their strategic and economic cooperation. Andrew Salmon reports the meeting between President Biden, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol is touted as the allies' first ever dedicated trilateral summit. The summit takes advantage of the unusual amity between the Kishida and Yoon administrations, which have overcome distrust dating back to Japan's colonial occupation of the Korean Peninsula in the decades before World War II. House lawmakers investigating President Biden are seeking access to some emails from his time as vice president and all drafts of a speech he delivered to Ukrainian lawmakers in 2015. Susan Ferricchio reports the House Oversight Committee has sent a letter asking the National Archives and Records Administration for the records. The letter marked lawmakers' first move to gather material directly from the president to investigate his involvement in his son's foreign business deals. Lawmakers estimate the deals provided at least $20 million to as many as 10 family members and associates. The Front Page is brought to you by Republican Metals. Currency change is coming, and Republican Metals believes you need to protect your savings now. Call 800-783-3118 to get your free gold guide. That's 800-783-3118. American colleges are eagerly awaiting the outcome of a Department of Education investigation into Harvard's admissions policy for legacy students, wondering whether to eliminate a policy that seems to chiefly benefit white applicants. Stephen Dinan reports legacy admissions, or special preferences to students with relatives who attended a school, have come under fire since the Supreme Court ruled in June that race-based affirmative action programs violate the Constitution. The Department of Education started investigating after lawyers for civil rights, representing several racial and ethnic groups, filed a civil rights complaint. The complaint says Harvard's legacy policy is a hurdle for minorities in the admissions process. And finally, State Department Iran envoy Robert Malley, who's reportedly under investigation on suspicion of mishandling classified information, has been hired to teach foreign policy classes at Princeton University. Ben Wolfgang reports the longtime Democratic diplomat was a key architect of the Obama administration's 2015 nuclear deal with Iran and was leading President Biden's effort to revive that pact. His sudden disappearance from the foreign policy scene this spring left a host of unanswered questions. Some prominent Republicans publicly wondered whether Malley committed treason by sharing sensitive information with Iran or another foreign adversary. Malley's security clearance was suspended earlier this year. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also follow us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.